Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking, and I'm looking this morning at a book from Witherbys and Kennedy's collaborating in a title called Claims Handling, Law and Practice, A Practitioner's Guide. It's written by Richard West and has a range of contributors to it. This is the book. It's a heavy book. It's got glossy plates and colour pages and all sorts of interesting things. That's an interesting picture. Each chapter has a little sort of dividing section. Then you do get a nice little contents at the front of each chapter to tell you what's in it. There's no index, which I actually miss. I'd like to have had an index. The last thing you get is a rather interesting flow chart, which I thought was interesting at the back, on costs. What you have got at the front is the table of cases, to be expected, set out in a slightly different way, and you've got in each chapter you've got a heading of what covered in the chapters themselves. I found it very interesting. Let's just start. The introduction right at the beginning is on what negligence is. So this is a book that is, apart from being very heavy, it's got a number of contributors who've put stuff in for it, but it's a book which is aimed at a whole range of different people. As I say, I'm grateful to Witherbys and Kennedy's for producing it. This is what we've said about it. We've given it a title on the web and in the journal saying, involved in claims handling, here's a straightforward guide to day-to-day practice. That's what it is, and I think it's helpful all round, from the expert to the novice. So a bit more about that in a minute. If you're therefore at all involved with insurance claims in just about any capacity, this book is for you at a time of heightened interest in the subject since the edition appeared in 2008. The aim, in the words of one of the contributors, Nick Thomas, who's from Kennedy's, has been to create a simple guide to the areas of law which you might commonly deal, and that they succeed amply in their aim. Here in one handy volume then is the areas to which claims handlers most often need to refer in everyday practice. The objective has been throughout to tackle most of the legal questions to which claims handlers need ready and reliable answers. I think it's helpful not just from their point of view, but from mine as a practitioner and also that of the judiciary, who tend to make fairly substantial robust remarks from time to time about claims handlers, and I think it's important for us to get a bit of perspective in here. From the estimable list of titles published by Witherbys, the book was originally targeted at handlers of general liability and motor claims, the sort of area that I deal with in fact, which is what this edition does admirably. However, in response to widespread interest and of course need, the book's been expanded to include a number of other fields, including clinical negligence, health and safety, occupational disease, child abuse and housing disrepair. You'll find those towards the back of the book itself. Obviously it starts off right at the front with the negligence issues, and then it sort of builds up after that. That's the negligence stuff there. Then it builds up to the new areas at the back. That's why it's sort of 800 pages and it's heavy. Also, for your external costs draftsman, there's a chapter on funding methods, notably fixed recoverable costs in RTAs, again important at the moment because of the way the regime operates. In line with its consistently practical and accessible approach, the book also includes a chapter on calculating past and future loss. Again, I think that's useful because you've got it quite quickly there, and it's nothing worse than fumbling around trying to get the figures. We all do it, but I mean, it's useful if you know where to look quite quickly. I think it's very useful as a title for counsel in particular when we're dealing with some of these matters face to face with the client. It's logically organised, well written as a book, and it meets a variety of needs in our view. It supplies further information for the experienced, not to mention confirmation of what we already know, and it sets out the basics, which I think is, as I said earlier, a boon to the novice and a great guide to problem solving in the often complex field that we're dealing with here. The authors bring extensive training experience to almost 700 pages of detailed comment, and it functions as a helpful textbook for in-house training in our view. Let me conclude by saying that the table of cases and acts included, plus a glossary and suggestions on further reading, and it's, in our view, something that should be added to your library, certainly for all claims handlers, practitioners who deal regularly with insurance matters, and certainly all trainers in this area of law. It's especially relevant at the moment with claims handling re-emerging at the top of the political agenda, thanks to people like Jack Straw. And there's a possible new consideration on quantum and costs being looked at by the coalition government in this controversial to some area of insurance law. So can I thank everybody involved in this? It's a useful statement. When I used to do the CPD courses, teaching the courses in this area, we didn't have this book in those days. It would have been nice to have had it as an additional device, if you like, to help people. However, it's here now, so thank you to all concerned. Bye bye.